My name is Lisa Novak, as was stated earlier, and I'll introduce myself a little bit more thoroughly here in a minute, but I have been fortunate to have been invited to speak with this group of folks, the Austin Python Meetup group, several times over the course of the years that you all have been an organization. So I'm so pleased to get to come back and be re-invited again. I must have said something at least somewhat relevant to get invited back, so thank you for bringing me back here. I'm going to go ahead and move into, oh my gosh, I love you so much. You don't have to move 1 inch. You can live with me forever. Y'all should see the cutest little thing just jumped on my lap.
If you want, I can put my computer here so you don't have to look at you kind of look at us.
You guys, okay, that'd be great.
And then you just present from
then perfect. Well,
sorry, I
don't know if you're hearing all that. We're going to make some technical changes, but I'm going to go into presentation mode now. And you have that mic off. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The phrase that got popular in 2020, can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
Perfect. Can I see my screen? Let's go back. Slideshow mode. All right. Well, what I've been asked to talk about today is how that job market and searching for a job has shifted significantly. Okay, you guys, I'm over here. It's over here now. Has shifted significantly in the last few years. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what the job hunt looks like now in this market and how we mitigate through the AI kind of chaos that it's created. Why are you guys listening to me? I told you I'd introduce myself in a minute. So the reason that you're listening to me is because this is my experience. This is my background. I have 30 years of experience in human resources related roles. I know it's weird since I only look 29. But I have always been in all of my roles responsible for all of global talent acquisition. 25 years of that, I've been a hiring manager myself. So I've been responsible for identifying the right roles to fill and the right people to fill them. 18 of those years have been in executive leadership, meaning I've been responsible for the strategy as well, not only the hiring strategy, but who we need to hire, the organizational design and development, and how we need to hire. I started my career as a recruiter, so I have extensive experience in the actual tactical hiring and recruiting component. I worked in both the recruiting firm area, so I've worked for the headhunting firms, as well as in the corporate environment. Most of my career has been in the tech startup world. About 20 years ago, 25 years ago, tech startups and technology in particular really started driving how jobs were found and how the job market happens. And the other industries follow that now. It used to not be the case. Guess who used to? The press. Remember when we put no, none of you remember when we put jobs in the newspaper. Some of us remember putting jobs in the newspaper. But that's how it used to happen. Now tech really owns how the job market happens across most industries. So being in the tech space, I've been on the precipice or the forefront of those changes. If you want to read more about me, you can find me on LinkedIn at Lisa Novak HR. So let's talk about what we're here to talk about, that job search and how that has shifted in the last few years. And I'm going to start the conversation with who's it impacting the most? Who's not getting hired because of AI, right? We're talking about AI replacing humans, and there's this debate back and forth. Is AI replacing humans? Well, guess what, folks? I mean, kind of. It's not replacing humans in the eliminate humans capacity, but it is shifting how jobs are done and who gets those jobs. The people being impacted first, or what we're seeing in the market right now, are the new grads, those fresh outs. Those entry-level positions are harder and harder to find because they are the easiest ones to automate. Our back office employees, that includes me and my team, human resources, operations, accounting and finance, that's all back office. Again, a lot of those are kind of process driven that could be automated, and of course, engineers. We all know Claude can code now. So roles that can often be replaced by or automated through AI, it's happening, and these are the first categories that we're seeing that happen in. I base all of my knowledge on my experience as well as data. It's not one or the other, it's how those two things combine. We don't have a lot of experience in the AI world of staffing because it's all new to all of us. The dust hasn't settled yet. We're figuring this out as we go. But what I do have is data to support what I'm saying here. So I'm not going to read every bit of the information on this screen. You guys are welcome to take screenshots or read it yourself. But for the entry-level roles, those fresh outs who are looking for new positions in the market, Snowflake actually did a survey of over 3,000 employees that showed 63% of those AI-driven job losses are in that fresh out environment, that entry-level environment. Stanford showed that there's a 13% drop in jobs for people between the ages of 22 and 25 in those roles that are now being AI automated or adopted. In the back office roles, accounting, finance, HR, operations, the World Economic Forum ranked these clerical and administrative roles among the fastest declining globally. That is due to AI. IBM's expecting 30% of those roles, almost 8,000 positions across IBM to be eliminated because of AI. We've already seen that happen. Amazon, just in the last year, has let go of 30,000 in operations and back office related employees. 30,000 more people are on the market because of the robots. And then of course, you guys know the product side of the house, coding, product management, product support, these are all getting hit as well. McKinsey & Company said 30 to 40% of these roles has already been taken over by AI, or at least shifted or transitioned because of AI. Goldman says that 30% of the engineering and programming tasks have the highest risk of automation. Atlassian's already cut off 1,500. IBM is suggesting that they're going to cut 30% of their staff, so of their engineering and product staff. So we're already seeing this happen, this transition happen. What do we do about it? How do we get seen? How do we find jobs if the jobs are being eliminated? And how do we get seen in this world of kind of the AI and takeover in the staffing process as well? It's about creating your own brand, knowing who you are, and marketing yourself. And you're going to be marketing yourself differently than we used to. 20 years ago, we could write a resume and a LinkedIn page, apply to a handful of jobs, introduce ourselves to the person who knows your person's, another person's friend, and make our way in. Things have shifted now. So it's about knowing yourself, creating collateral, and those three things together, understanding your brand, having that plan of action, are what's going to help us stand out in the chaos. So what does that chaos look like? We all know about the overwhelming search, that there are, I like that I say hundreds, there are thousands of postings out there, all the scrolling, the doom that it is, the job descriptions that don't make sense, or you're not really sure what company that they're supposed to be through. Also, the fake jobs, they are real. They are out there. There are so many fake jobs out there. Some of it is fishing for candidates. Some of it is testing the market, which is the most annoying thing. And some of it is just some real bad work.
Close this Google Meet.
You're welcome.
Sorry.
And some of them are just really, bad and not real searches. You'll see I have an example of one over here. There's a woman on the internet, Lanny Rosales, here in Austin. If you don't know her, I highly recommend you look her up. She does another networking organization across tech in Austin, and she's really great. And one of the things she does is go around the internet and scold people. This is her scolding Amazon. This is an actual online job posting through Amazon. And in the middle of the job requirements is the rejection note. Their draft of the rejection note. The robots are getting it wrong, y'all. The black hole, are they even looking? Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I apologize. That was Amazon.
No, the person.
Oh, Lani Rosales, Lani Rosales. Has a really great group. If you want, I'll share her LinkedIn with you after this if you guys want me to. She also helps people with their resume writing and their resume marketing. So she's just a great resource. She's also super funny and just fun to be around. the black hole. You guys have probably seen that or heard your friends complain about it. I've submitted my application or my resume to like 15 different companies or 500 different companies. I haven't heard back from any of them. And then there's the AI component of it and the applicant tracking systems, the software and the tools that are getting in our way. There's auto rejections, applicant tracking systems, the old dusty ones. Still don't know how to accept the new resumes. They don't necessarily know how to accept the LinkedIn profiles as resumes. So you get auto rejected just because of the format in some of those. We're getting DQ'd by knockout questions. Those knockout questions are being driven by and analyzed by AI. And then we don't have all the systems in place yet. So while HR is trying hard to integrate AI, we're not doing it right. It's all getting better, but we're also not the area that companies are spending on AI. So while the tools are improving, the budget isn't. So all that mess that you're seeing, not only are you guys seeing it, everybody's seeing it, and the people inside are seeing it and feeling it too. So the recruiters are none too happy about the chaos either. So again, how do you stand out in that field that we just acknowledged is really, really messy? And that's about knowing yourself, showing up as the human in that world of AI. So think about, these are the three kind of questions that I ask when I'm doing career counseling and people are looking for their next career opportunity. We go through a whole process around what matters to you. And I start with what matters to you. You'll see the what are your skills and what job should you target comes second and third. What matters to you? Are you looking for a specific role, a function that you want to do? I'm excited about using this specific technology. Are you bucking for that VP title that you've been working your career toward? Does it matter what the culture is like, the environment, the people you work with? Are comp and benefits the most important thing to you? And there is no shame in that. P.S. They are the most important to me. Learning and growth opportunities. Is your goal to get toward that VP role that we were talking about earlier? And are you looking for an environment where you feel like you can learn and grow and they've got those steps for you? Then you start thinking about where is your skill set? I always start this one with, what do you love doing? Because generally when what people love also happens to be what they're best at. And there's where my second question comes. What are your superpowers, or what do you think your superpowers are? How are you better, and what are you better at than the other people, the peers in your own field? Be honest with your skills and with your capabilities, but don't be humble. If there are things you pretty much can do, you can do them. So understand your skills and then think about what jobs you should target. With those two kind of questions in mind and that thought process in mind, then you think about what industry should I be going after, what job or what sizes of companies, what titles and work functions. So we'll start with creating your collateral. So once you've gotten all that figured out for yourself, you've kind of humanized yourself, you've given thoughts to who you are, then we start crafting the tools around that. Your collateral. So a job search, you're really marketing yourself in the industry. Marketing is done through collateral. So you are building your own collateral. Your collateral includes your resume, those cover letters, the direct outreaches, so notes that you might send to your network to get their attention. Your LinkedIn profile is part of your collateral. So look at, not only do you want to craft good, valuable collaterals based on those questions that we just asked, but also make sure they're a little bit malleable, meaning you can shift make some changes or some edits, simple edits, to appeal to or apply to very specific jobs, and make them a little bit more oriented toward that job to get the attention that you're looking for. There has been, and this is really where the meat of our conversation comes in. What's different in HR? How should I act different in AI because of AI? How should I act differently because of AI? There is a significant shift to addressing and to analyzing the human skills now, right? AI can assess your hard skills. You can put your hard skills on your resume and it can say, yep, it's captured all of that. It is much harder for them to assess the human skills, and human skills are becoming much more important because those tactical functions in your role can now be automated. We're looking at what does it take behind those. So it's that human piece. Less attention to the degrees, the titles that you've had historically. Again, the robots are looking for those, so you still have to put them on your resume. But when what the humans are looking for, what the hiring teams and managers and companies are looking for, are the soft skills beyond that And we always have our soft skills or our list of skills at the top of our resume. I want you to go beyond that. I want you to think of how do you embed those soft skills through stories within the body of your resume as well, and include some personality. You are all witty people, I happen to know. And so we want to be able to feel a little bit of that humanity in your collateral, in your letter to me, in your resume, certainly on your LinkedIn profile. That's personal, and it should feel a little bit more personal. So consider, do you have the personal story that shares some of those strengths? Have you created, as you're looking at those 3 questions on the slide before, a story about yourself? Then ask, does your resume, your LinkedIn, your online presence, is that showing, does that feel like your brand or who you think you are, that personality? And then how can you communicate it better or more effectively through that collateral? And then it's coming to places like this. How are you networking? How are you using that conversation and pushing people toward your collateral? How you do it is by having an organized search plan. I am not going to read all of this for you. Again, please feel free to take a screenshot. This probably should have been 2 slides, but I'm going to run through it very quickly. It's about defining your target, applying, because you want to apply intentionally. So I identify 2 or 3, maybe 4 target roles. What are the positions you're looking for? Build your list of 30 to 50 companies that hire for those roles, and then prioritize those companies. You're going to build a weekly networking strategy. Sitting at home alone does not networking. You actually have to get out there. You have to make calls. You have to do the outreach. We're going to lean in on that a little bit more in the next slide too. Execute a disciplined application process. So where you also have that, where you have the weekly networking or outreach strategy, you also want to have this is who I'm calling this week. This is how I'm going to reach them. This is how I'm going to apply. That could be, I found 10 jobs online that I'm going to go ahead and apply to. And then we've got follow-up. Then we go hunt down the people that we know, who we know within those companies or know people within those companies. Use your network now more than ever. And I'm guessing probably 5 to 7 years ago, I also said use your network. It's the most valuable tool you have. So I'm going to reinforce it today. Follow-up consistently, meaning it can't just be an afterthought. It really does have to be part of the plan and part of the process. We can talk about follow-up and how to follow up without being annoying, because there is a line there. So if you want to talk about that afterwards, we can. And then measure, review, and adjust. I told you guys earlier, I use my experience as well as data to share information. You need to also. So use that data, figure out, track your own applications. What's getting attention? What kinds of notes are you sending? Who in your network is responding? Use your data to expand that network and to improve your results overall. I told you I was going to lean in a little bit on building the network and building that strategy. That is hands down the most important thing. Here's the thing. If you go into a meeting, you introduce yourself, and your vibe is very black and white, you're not going to stand out. You're not going to be remembered as the human. And that's what we're trying to do. Salute. Is to create that humanity and make sure they remember us, because there is something unique and special about us. So you have to find what's unique and special about you, market it, and share it. Oh my gosh, doesn't that sound horrible? I know, that's not even fun for me, and I'm an extreme extrovert, but it's the game right now. So the connections are the pieces that matter most right now. Remember, everyone is using AI. Everyone's using AI to write their cover letters. Everyone's using AI to improve their resume, and that is fine. You can use AI too. I use it all day, every day. Someone was asking me about writing policies. AI writes policies for me now. I don't do that. But to make the perfect resume, try to ensure that you're matching that specific job, that the story you're telling within that resume resonates with the job, and write a personal cover letter. That does not mean you have to sit and type a new cover letter every single time. But I mentioned earlier, make sure your collateral is malleable, shifted a little. This is that opportunity. If there's something particularly interesting about that company, the person, a story, go Google and see if they've led a meetup, and that might be a good way to introduce yourself to them. Audit and edit your robots. Make them sound human when you're done. The robots, ChatGPT can set up a perfect little cover letter for you that I know darn well you didn't write. So go in and make it sound like you afterwards. That's not just verbiage. That's me too. That's me wanting to understand your little story. You're the difference, the differentiator. Authenticity, who you are. Authenticity matters. Be the interesting human in the sea of AI. And that's exactly what I'm saying. That's the whole point of my conversation with you all today. So what relevant experiences are unique to you? What have you done that might be significant to this person or this organization or this role? Include personality. I've said that like 11 times now. I hope you guys are getting that part of the message. Include personality, include history. Hey, I've done this. Include your own point of view, but not politically. But your own point of view matters. That is where you stand out. That is part of your brand, is your point of view. And some of you have already had conversations where I can start to see that. I can start to see what you're excited about, what you think of different things happening, even politically. But again, we won't broach that subject. And then lastly, and most importantly, networking isn't asking for favors. Everybody networks. It is part of your career. That is not you asking for a hand up. That is just part of a circle where you will be doing the same thing for others over time if you're not already or haven't already. It's about helping people help you, and you will do that in reverse eventually. Be clear when you're networking about what you're looking for, the roles you're targeting, and why you're interested. Make it easy for them. Tell people in the shortest form possible what you do and what you're looking for. Ask for the introduction. If that's what you're looking for, make it easy. Tell them what you need. Your relationships are far more valuable, especially in this space right now, in this market, in this time, than any of your applications. We've already discussed those applications get stuck in the ether. They get kicked out by applicant tracking systems. They get analyzed by AI and really big points are missed. Your relationships are far more important and greater than your applications. Your connections are more critical and more important than AI. Building that network now more than ever is more important than having your fancy AI written resume. So if you get seen and you get through your network and you find those appropriate jobs and you're starting the interview process, what are the interviewers looking for? We've got a couple of different forms of interviewers out there now. The robots. Has anyone been interviewed by a robot yet? Yes. Only one? Anyone online? You have to talk out loud. I can't see you. No?
Multiple times.
Okay, there we go. I'm like, how are we the only ones who've been interviewed by robots? So the robots are looking for the fit, and they have been set up to ask very specific questions. A lot of them, the initial screens are AI driven. Don't treat them differently. You show up with a dirty t-shirt to AI, they catch that.
So wait, so for everyone who doesn't know, because I don't know.
What do I mean?
What is this? What is this robot interview?
Oh, for those of you who don't know, a lot of times through applications, frankly, it's the standard process for a lot of companies now. Your initial interview is an AI bot.
And they talk back and forth.
And they talk back and forth.
And it's a video call?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You want to share your experience?
So I guess I've had both only audio
Yeah.
call, and it seemed like they were looking for keywords, and it was pretty bad because they kept asking the same question over and over, and I didn't know how to get out of the loop.
Horrible.
I absolutely begin messing with it. I do that with them.
It's so hard not to.
I try to forget something, but and then I've had one where, like you said, it was more video, but it was more of a AI test. And when you have questions, I want to ask about that there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were talking about that they can show up a little bit differently. Some of them are just audio, some of them are visual. A lot of them is you'll get that same vibe with most of them, that they're there to identify generally keywords. They're looking for very specific answers. That said, don't treat it differently. Talk like a human, show up dressed for the interview, etc. Prepare just as well. Consider what the role is, what you need to know about that job, any information that you have. Do the same research you do when you talk to the human next. Articulate thoughtfully. Now more than ever in this AI world, your words are absolutely captured and analyzed. So your words are relevant, the ums and the ohs and the tripping on your own words, not finding your sentences like I'm struggling to do right now, that gets captured. So it's a very strange world. And especially when that is your initial screen, right? That's your way in or not. That's your roadblock.
So maybe you want to defer this till later in your Q&A, but I think it's kind of ironic that the candidate is being subject to AI systems, but they prevent me from using any AI kind of systems.
Oh, those are the best, aren't they? When the companies have locked down all the AI tools, but they're using the AI tools.
It's even better when they install an extension on Chrome and go through your history and seeing if you're opening window tabs, and
they're also watching, yeah. And even more that happened during COVID when people were afraid that the work from homers weren't actually working.
Well, one thing that I'm seeing is like I have hired people like for software roles before, and one thing that we made a mistake on years ago is that we were trying to fight the AI, and we're trying to say like, oh, you can't use these tools, and we're like trying to catch people cheating. But now we allow the applicants to use the AI in interviews because we know that they're going to use it anyway. Yeah. And we kind of want them to be good at using the tools.
That's right. You're going to expect them to use it. So is it really a negative that they're using it? That has absolutely been a transformation too. You got it. Calculators back in the olden days. I am really trying to age myself during this conversation. Right? Calculators at school.
What was the calculator last talk? The old IBM accounting, what is it called?
You talking about me when I was talking about the HP RPM.
Yeah, the RPM. Yeah. Have you ever heard of that? You're not that old.
Lisa, I have a question about those AI bots. This is actually kind of relevant what we're speaking, because you think that they analyze everything on the other side. So I wrote AI avatars. I know how those things work from behind. Some of them are very clever. However, many of those that I encountered, that I've run many tests recently, looking for small contracts, I found that they are buggy. Like really, and this is a question for you from your world. Are they using us to actually improve them? Because I actually filed many bug reports today. Many times when the AI comes and gives me an interview, I give them a feedback. You have bug here. This is not working. It's like I'm less about the job. I'm more curious about like why didn't they fix it? And I see some of them come back with me with the same errors again and again and again. So I'm starting to get the idea that this industry of AI bots is only developing on the side of HR, and they're using us as guinea pigs.
And customer support, right? Don't you think?
Yeah, because they actually ask me, here, file a bug report. Then I see, oh yeah, 96 people look at your bug report. Okay, so wait, is it testing me or am I testing it? If I'm testing it, why aren't they paying me?
Yeah, well, and consumers have been the testers of software tools forever. This feels different because it's personal, right? This is not just about the shoes you're buying and whether or not those support your arches when you run. This is about your next career move, your job, people looking at your experience and your background and you talking and telling about yourself. It's very personal. And so to have that, look, you guys aren't even getting it right on the other side and you're asking me to help you get better at what you're doing, like it's offensive. It's also how it's always been done. So I get it. Now, most jobs, not all, because there are jobs that will hire you just through AI. You guys seen those, right? Online jobs where you truly only talk to the robots and then they send you the offer letter and et cetera, information on how to log in. These are typically lower paying, automated repeatable jobs, but that happens. Most jobs, and any of the ones you guys will be talking about, also involve humans. So the humans are looking for something different now because the AI tools and those initial screens can check off some of the basics beforehand. That means the humans are now looking for something a little different. They're diving a little bit deeper. They're more focused on, as I said in the previous slide, soft skills and relevant experience rather than degrees and big company history. So you're going to want to put emphasis on those soft skills, things that I mentioned earlier. You want to embed some of that, not just in the top of your resume, leadership, but rather show where you've led things within the body of your resume and be able to and prepared to talk about those and how you have displayed or used your soft skills or your critical thinking skills beyond the skill of your or the function of your role. Show why you stood out, not just when did I accomplish something, but when did I accomplish something great? Where did I stand out? What have I achieved that was meaningful for my companies? Prepare examples. So know that you're going to need to talk more in depth about, it's not just, yes, I have done this, but how I did it and what the results were. So know your stories when you're going into those interviews, understand kind of where are some of the highlights in your resume and be prepared to tell those stories with more depth. What we're seeing now and the big trend is asking for one story. Tell me about where you failed, right? We've all heard that one before. Tell me about an experience that you failed. And you tell the experience, and what they're doing now is digging further. Okay, who did you collaborate with to solve that? What did their roles, right? They're digging much deeper than just, yes, I solved it, or yes, I accomplished this thing. They're digging into the how. So be prepared with that level of story. And going back to what you said earlier, isn't it funny? How the AI is telling you, and that you guys used to say, oh, you can't use AI, that's cheating.
Yes.
Now, absolutely, your use of AI is one of the interview questions.
Yeah, that's what we're
in
looking for.
almost
So-
everyone. It's exactly what you were saying. So I was smiling because I knew this was coming. That you need to be able to and ready to share how you're already actively using AI for most roles. People now want you to already be an expert in that thing they said you couldn't do a year ago. So not only how are you using AI in your job, a lot of us haven't had that opportunity, but also how are you using it in your life? So be prepared with those stories as well. How you think is more important now than where you worked. That is what we're digging into. Why? Because the AI robots can do the things that don't require thinking. Now we need to know how the human is thinking so you can drive success through those tools. I think that's it. You want to talk about it?
So this may be a fork you may or may not talk about. So I'm in between, and when I've been applying, I've seen a lot of companies, their apply process is through Workday, and it's very rigid. I don't find it very easy to use personally, but then when did I graduate? What's the time frame of each company? So then,
Full application, like you're in 7th grade getting a job at the mall.
right, so then I worry about ageism, and I mean, I'm sure you know about the lawsuit against Workday.
Oh yeah. Workday. I got a lot of things to say about Workday, but this isn't the right forum for it. What I will say about the Workday tool or platform is that it is very impressive. It is also very complex, and the companies have to basically build the entire workflow themselves. Guess what HR people don't know how to do? Guess what software people don't know how to do? So that's not a good match. So Workday's rough. It's the, internal people trying to create workflows on it, and that you get stuck. They check all the boxes. Like, yeah, I need to know their entire education history for every VP job in our company. Like, no, you don't. Ageism is the other question that you had there. Don't tell the whole story.
Well, but
Give your last 4 jobs instead of your last 14.
when it asks for dates on degrees,
You ask for dates and degrees.
I assume there's no way around it. It's required to.
Well, I guess it depends on what tool you're using. So I don't know all of them or the depth of how to, manipulate them.
I would say at least 80% of the jobs I apply for go with Workday. And
Yeah,
then
it's a lot.
And to top it off is I have to create a new account every time.
Have you considered lying?
Ooh, why?
Yeah.
In my seat, I can't say it. In his seat, he can.
I went to college in 2007 when I graduated.
Of course.
In 2007.
Well, I don't publicly say that I'll consider that.
I mean, a typo is a typo. What you gonna do about it? But yeah, that's a unique one. I'm gonna have to give that a little bit of thought. What my knee-jerk reaction to that is, then don't apply. Go find someone else in that company. Don't go through the standard application route. Go find the VP of engineering and on LinkedIn and hunt him down and say, I saw this job, I'm perfect for it. Here's why. Which is kind of what I'm saying overall, right? It's using your network, your persona, your brand, the here's why I'm perfect for it part that we talked about earlier, making that direct connection, that's going to make you stand out. It's going to get 700 resumes through that crappy Workday application system. He's going to get 4 LinkedIn outreaches.
So if nobody else has questions, I'll be back.
I have a question about more of just like general trends, not really like persons. Like, the market's strange right now. AI is like kind of a thing. People are still unsure if it's really a thing. It definitely feels like it's a thing for us.
It's a thing.
No, it's definitely a thing for us, but it's like it's becoming a pretty expensive thing for a lot of companies.
Yeah.
And that not just the whole like AI thing, is though like we came out of COVID, there was a lot of stimulus, there was a lot of hiring, like the unemployment was really low, and now we're like kind of back to that, but now it's like interest rates might rise. So I feel like a lot of companies are just very uncertain about like hiring at all. Like my team, like we've been begging for more help for 2 years.
Yeah.
And like people leave. Like the truth is
Letting you stay beyond capacity.
and they know it is that like people like leave. And like I wonder, like, are we gonna get more people? Like we're gonna need to, but they're gonna like put that on
That's
as
right.
possible. And like
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a question there, but do you think that's
I
I
like,
don't necessarily have the data behind that.
I've been like seeing that too, where like you're getting more efficient, so there's less of a need for people to do the jobs, because
This is money driven.
what used to be able to be done with 4 people can now be done with 2 people. So then like 2 people leave, well, there's not as much need to replace them.
But you all know that that's not completely true, because your capacity changes when that person
Yes.
left. So like, wait, the
Exactly.
robots didn't take that over. I'm doing more work now, effectively, right? Here's my take on what you were saying, and I don't know how right or wrong I am. This is not supported by data. It is only supported by experience. We went crazy in 2022, and we went on a freaking hiring frenzy as if some gates had opened and everyone got gold bars. And during the entire hiring frenzy, when people were quitting jobs to make twice as much over here, I just sat back and kept thinking, oh God, this is going to hurt. This is going to crash. And I really wish that I got paid on my, guesses about the future, my predictions. Exactly. It's such a it's real low, not a high paying market at all. But I would have banked on that, because I knew that we all know what goes up must come down. That's right. Must come down. That's been a phrase forever. What comes up must come down. And that's what happened. We were on this wild hiring frenzy. All the companies grossly overpaid for all the people that they were stealing from each other. Everyone sat around thinking, oh, I'm worth $400,000 now. You weren't. And then in 2023, 2024, and 2025, all of that had to come to a head, because we couldn't sell. The market wasn't buying the money we were spending on these people. So everybody lost their job. We're still trying to recover financially from that. And that's why we're getting people, we're making up the excuses. Now, AI is helping to automate a lot, but it is not replacing 50,000 people in a single company. We're using that as an excuse, and I've called that out on LinkedIn a few times. We're using that as an excuse to not hire and to let people be overpopulated, because we overspend. We have to fix it. I look at both of you. You've gone so many times. Your turn.
How does networking work when you're up and some external company? So this is what this is for.
There you go. That's exactly my answer. You're doing it now. That's exactly it. So get out there, find the relevant, semi-relevant networking opportunities live. It's also about using your existing network, whether that's from school or from past jobs. Those people know people. So it's the Kevin Bacon story, right? 7 degrees of separation. We can always find someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows the person you're looking for. And that's what you do. That's what networking is. Again, going back to networking isn't asking for favors. It's going to come back around. It's also valuable for them. Don't you want to be the person who says, oh, Fred, I heard you were looking for a such and such. I've got the perfect person for you. I just became a hero to Fred. Fred's now going to help me get my next job. So people appreciate being a networker.
That's a personal, like what you guys to build a personal brand, like how do you think about it? Like what people would be like I know like is it like having some online presence, like having some YouTube channel or having posts on LinkedIn or what is the personal brand?
That is absolutely social media. Your brand is going to show up in, once you really identify and know your brand and feel confident about your brand and who you are, right? Understanding these things, what matters to you, what are your superpowers or strengths, and then what jobs you should target. Your brand's going to become your conversation. It's going to be easy for you to talk about it and for it to be seen. So is it online? Is it social media posts? I don't use a lot of social media. I can't even come up with a word. Yes is the answer. It's all those things. It's your resume. It's your LinkedIn. It's the guy who has the little dog is creating a brand. Right now at this meetup, he is creating a brand.
Yeah.
So it's your persona, it's who you are. So it's going to come out in conversation. You're going to be more confident. I don't know, he's my own little brand. You're going to be more confident the more you talk about your brand, the more you see it. If you put it in your collateral, right, you're going to get, it's going to become second nature to you for your brand.
I think
You have a very strong brand already, but
one thing I would recommend is I get my experience because I've been getting like more messages on LinkedIn recently. The reason is that like I had some good experiences, but I didn't really market them very well. So I had AI like rewrite my LinkedIn with like what I'm actually doing and phrased in a way that like is more readable and like more easy to understand and like,
storytelling instead of tactical bullets.
yeah, and essentially like I started getting way more messages. I went from maybe like once a month to like maybe closer to once a week. So I'm just getting a lot more now because I up LinkedIn with AI like helps me.
So what do you think was the main thing that actually made it better? Like, what is it like the more more on the emotional side or more on like what?
Let's pull up your LinkedIn and analyze that right now. Here's what I will do. Am I?
Automatic volunteer. It doesn't need to volunteer.
There you go. That's exactly right. Here's what I will do. I will stop sharing and that's where I'm trying to go. I'm trying to find our meetup. Here we are. So I can stop presenting and present a different tab. I'll use my own. I'll show you what I mean. Oh, good. I'm already on my own.
Your DM page.
I know, right? I'm not even sort of interested. I'm an HR lady. Here's some good DM stuff. All right. So going to my own LinkedIn, some of the things that identify, there we go. Under my, whoops, what is there I need? Under my own LinkedIn, there are DMs. All right, so some of the things that you'll see under my own that I've been advised to do. First off, your title under my name, it's got the title. I've got HR executive, speaker and panelist, culture driver, etc. What I didn't do is put one single title. I didn't put Python engineer. Right? I said a lot more about myself there, and some of it is my personality, right? I'm a speaker and a panelist. That's some of what I do. I coach. I help startups scale. That's part of the startup scaling, by the way, is my brand. So that's included right at the very top. My about is somewhat unique because I've included real personality. My about me, here's my job. It's one sentence. Here's what I do. It's two half paragraphs. Here's who I am. Ready for this, guys? Scroll. No, keep scrolling. No, look at this arrogant lady. She wants you to really know look how long who I am is. That's changing your brand. There's my personality. There's me about to lose battery on this. Oh, that's right. That's too.
But I think for me, like my LinkedIn, I made the mistake of being like way too technical in my description of like what I do. And so I changed it to use more general terminology for like the high level stuff that I'm doing. So like more people understand what is it.
So you've included kind of your elevator pitch of who you are too.
Yeah, like I was essentially like previously it was like explaining it to like what I do to someone that like, was on the same level as me in terms of like what I know, but I simplified it to a way where it's high enough level that like anyone can really understand what it is that I do.
Good deal.
So you can get past the robot, screener, HR, talk about it.
So I have a question that
Yes.
I have a friend that got a job and I looked at his profile and for every job he had, he listed everything that's tools he used. And I was it's like each line was a tool he used. That's not
I don't think that has necessarily a negative, but it also doesn't have a value. Probably if you list the things that you've used or the types of tools that you're most skilled in or use is really, really valuable.
my counter and will have to be is a decade ago, I had a security job that required, or I had a clearance, and I still get recruiters that ask me about applying to security jobs. Even if I say my clearance is expired, they say
You don't work for the DOJ right now?
they're like not interested or they can ghost me. So I can't imagine that a lot of these people are very thorough.
The one thing I will say about like listing the tools at the bottom, like if you do list the tools, you need to make sure that you actually know the tools well enough to be able to talk about them in an interview. Because I've seen people that list a bunch of tools, and I noticed they list a tool, and I might quiz them on a question on a tool to see if they actually know it. And if they can't answer a basic question, it makes me discount them.
And you assume they only know a little bit or none of all of those tools they've listed now, right? By
I can't
default.
trust it as much.
The other thing I'll say about that, because it's an interesting topic, is do you want to do all of those things at your next job? And does your next job require all of those things? So remember we talked about the resume being malleable and being able to shift that. So maybe there is a place where, oh, this job I'm about to apply to needs these 4 things. I know how to do these 4 things. I'm going to put them on my skill set on the top of my resume. So, or I'm going to embed them in the places that I use these tools so that they know without having to list all 97 of the tools you've ever used. I can't even imagine what your list would look like. You'd need 3 pages. So that doesn't seem reasonable, but rather you can cater it to that specific role or job.
Yeah,
I'm going to hone in. Oops. I'm going to hone in from the peanut gallery because you
Love
just mentioned something that was actually my first thing after I got laid off. Was I sat down and decided to make a little web app to do my resumes and my cover letters, and that way I could turn on and off with bullet points because my background is doing database and teaching and training, but I also have a lot of ag background. Well, frankly, a bank in Omaha or Dallas doesn't care squat about my knowledge of cattle. So I could turn those off when I was sending apps to banks and other things like that. So that helps with the malleability of it.
I will say too, first off, love that. And if that is one of the better uses of AI and in the job search market. But I will also say your that becomes part of your brand too. Your cattle experience, that is something that you can play into, right? You're suddenly farmer BD or rancher BD who also does, training and education. Right?
Shout out rancher.
Shout out rancher. So that can become part of your brand also. That sets you apart. That's something people will remember.
I used to have the tagline that we make things that go moo.
So much. See. This is what I mean, people. Everybody's going to know BD used to be a farmer or used to be a rancher.
Lisa, to continue in this trend, since we're a Python meetup, I'll tell you a friend of mine who was telling me stories that didn't check them, but he seems to be all the time very, very busy. So I was asking him, how do you find those jobs? And he tells me, oh, I write AI agents that will go up and apply for jobs for me. And then eventually I end up in a meetup talking to some people, because I also ask them who are the heads of the company, and those AI agents find them. And if they find them in some meetup register, there I show up there and then I talk to them and blah, blah, blah. So, but more importantly, he's using AI to actually extend himself to the point that they are doing the work for him. Did you hear about people doing this? And if so, how successful it is, really?
Yes, it is. Yes, we definitely hear about it because the HR community complains about it nonstop. So it is absolutely a conversation for us in my space. It's adding to the same story, just the other side of it, right? We're talking about the fake jobs out there and the seas of things that we have to go through to find the real jobs that we're looking for. Well, those tools and those automated applications, if his robots are applying for 100 jobs a day, he doesn't want 96 of those. So he's spraying and praying, and while it can be valuable to him, it's actually creating more of the noise, and it's making it harder for other candidates. That said, I can't fight it. It's what's happening. He is playing the other side of the game, and you can't hate the player. Everybody's saying
Respect.
Thanks.
Yeah, do you think it's saturated? Do you think like they just like kind of pull some of these things off of like the online open apply, like because it does just even like could it get more saturated than today? I guess like that's the I don't know what really happens.
Yeah. Are we at capacity of the saturated? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a strange time for sure. Like I said, I've been doing this since back in the posting jobs.
Even real at this point. Like
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or is there any value to it? Is
there any value in it? Yeah, I know.
So Lisa, let's ask a different question. Let's pose it, and this is I don't know. I want your thoughts about how you think this will progress in the next X years, like 2-3 years from now. What do you think what your friends are in the HR business thinking of how things would be then?
Yeah.
Considering how they are now.
I think like any other big change, and our most recent in history was the internet, right? It changed everything. And this is another one of those significant changes. And I think, again, really wish I got hidden predictions. Let's see if this one's right. I think in the next 3 years, the dust will settle. I think it's going to become more of a process that we're all comfortable with, and it becomes part of who we are, and just another tool we use like the internet. And we won't be as afraid of it because we're going to know how to use it. There will be the right systems that work better, that are doing the things that we actually need for it to be effective. Right now, it's just chaos because they're all being thrown at us at once, and we're all trying to, again, game the system or work the system. And so I think it's going to take a while for us to kind of figure it all out. And I still think we're a few years away from that. So my prediction / hope is in the next 3 years, we're doing this a lot better.
So fortunately, I've been working in the last 2 years after the layoff. Out there. Haven't worked about 7 months. One thing I noticed at that time was there was even a website that tracks it. A lot of companies are posting positions at the opposite of
Yeah.
going, even in the home of those jobs. It's one that's still going on.
Yep.
Is the rationale for that? Are they just harvesting resumes, or is there some sort of weird labor law that they have to?
So there is a tiny component to that, but not really. The laws around the posting are really more about, and the ones that we're paying attention to right now are what we can post in different states, or what we're required to post in different states if we're hiring or opening in different states. Colorado is even worse, but which is fine. So, but going back to your question, is the ghosting still real? Absolutely. Are the fake jobs still real? Absolutely. They're all over the
So
place.
what's the rationale for doing it?
That is some of the dust that I think is going to settle. So some of the companies, some of it's just laziness. They just aren't taking down old dead jobs. Some of it is phishing, right? We think people fish for, into companies. Companies fish to people too. That's exactly what's happening. Let's just see what's in the market. Let's see if they're who's interested and what kind of candidates would we get. Some of it is for analytical purposes. I think it's not fair to the market at all. That isn't, it's exactly what we were talking about before. Like we're being the guinea pigs. We're being the testers. Yeah, that's what's happening here too. And they're using us for analytical data. I mean, if I put a VP position out, how many people apply, what demographics apply, etc. So they're looking for data.
And also for like marketing purposes.
Absolutely.
We're like, oh, we're always hiring and all that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's two other common things. One is that companies don't want to admit that they're in belt tightening mode.
Yeah.
So we're just going to pretend we're hiring. We're just not finding the right people.
Yeah.
The other is those are jobs that they're trying to get somebody a visa. So they have to continue to try and recruit. And look, we couldn't find any Americans to apply for this job. So we're going to have to hire this person from India.
Yeah, you see fewer of those than you think you see because we put those on arbitrary random places that you'll never find.
HR hides them.
That's right.
Well, to finish that thought, when I worked at a large company that starts with W, I don't want to say anymore, but the posting was right by the resume.
Oh yeah. Public place. Yeah, we're required by law in the office. They're talking about visa jobs.
I was also going to mention there was a large fruity computer company. Went through the process of like multiple interviews.
Bananas.
And actually, several times, they really fire and also obviously their HR is atrocious. But go through second and third rounds interviews, no rejection, no offer. Despite contacting HR, 3 months later, they send us the survey on how did they do on the interview process. So I took the liberty to just slam them.
It's funny about they send those out and they will never analyze those. They're not compiling that data and looking at how they can improve. They do not care how they can improve.
Why are you asking me?
And you're not going to look at it. You're not going to, that information doesn't matter to you yet. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say about that. That's just what's going on. That's some of the dust settling.
Yeah, especially for like smaller startups, I guess. If you were like, I don't know if this is really a question for you, but like the interview process for like smaller startups, like we would expect there to be like less rounds. Like, what would you like? How do you coach your startups to like interview? Like, what's that part? Like, what do you recommend their process be like there?
I think it should be the same everywhere.
What should it be?
So I'm not the biggest fan of AI doing screens. I don't mind AI doing resume parsing, if you will. So be careful. Make sure you're including the right things. But I don't love the screen because I think there should be a mutual buy and sell in an initial interview. It's us telling you about what you're walking into as well. But how I structure interviews for my companies is that we identify what information needs to be gathered. What are we trying to learn about these people? Who is the best person as we break up that information? Who is the best person to interview or dive deeper on any of those facets? And then we come together. So, and there should be overlap. In other words, there's not just one person asking about a specific subject, but some overlap with two people ask. So we've got crossover, we've got depth of skill, and we aren't, we aren't pushing someone through a 6-person process to ask the same questions over and over again. That's what we see a lot. Yeah, you're the 4th person I've answered this one to. That's not a valuable interview process. That's where they get when it feels redundant, when it feels like, oh my God, why are there so many steps to this? Because it gets boring to you because you've repeated yourself. That's just bad interview structure. Yes.
So when the company says they want something with AI skills, what are some ways you can prove that, or what credentials or whatever?
Well, of course, it depends on the role and the depth of AI they're looking for and what capacity they're looking for AI. But even talking about how you use it in your personal world, right? you guys have even given a couple of examples of your, friends who have set up AI to apply to jobs, et cetera. Those kinds of use cases still matter across the board. Again, because it's so new. It's not like they're looking for exactly. So right now, I don't think the market's looking for very specific. Now, in my case, I can't walk into an HR interview and not know anything about how AI is affecting HR anymore. So in your role, you want to understand how it's affecting the work you do, how it can be improving, or what you can be using in the job you're applying to. But there's also validity into how you're using it. Absolutely.
So what kind of role are you like applying for in this?
Many of the jobs now say 2 to 3 years of AI. And it's not.
I know, isn't that so funny? I think we can all have a collective laugh at that line.
Have you used like Claude Code for your previous job or anything similar to that? Actually, yeah. So if you want to like build that experience or share that experience, you might be able to do like a personal project in which you use AI to help you with the coding on it, and then you could showcase that on GitHub, and then that might help a little bit.
We've all heard of the stories of HR job description requiring 10 years of experience in some technology and 5 years. They're not needing over 3 years of experience. Just wanted to know if you can use this tool or that tool.
It's true.
So you just have to find a way to have used it and be able to demonstrate it.
Yeah, we use years of experience on job descriptions to describe depth of knowledge. It shouldn't be, right? You can be a genius at something with only 1 year of exposure to it. You can have 10 years of exposure to something and not be that good at it. So, but that is, it's a baseline. It's a way to do it. But there are lots of ways to show and share how you've used AI. Think of how you use it in your personal life, and how it would apply to that job, right? In my case, I just mentioned, AI writes all the policies I have to write for my clients. I don't do that anymore.
So it's kind of similar like when you hire interns to come out of school, and some of them, they just talk about like, okay, like I learned this in school. But we have somebody that like we had somebody that showed us like made this gaming thing, and then it was like had all these servers in the back, and they had like all these complicated things that was like really, even like for a company, it was hard to make. But he was actually building by himself. So of course, like come work for us, because it's kind of the same thing. Like we were very impressed not necessarily for his experience, like he had, let's say, his previous internships or whatever. There's all this stuff that he's doing building by himself. So if you can get experience like that, we go in and build something and just talk about it. That's probably very useful as well. If you can build it.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Some of that, part of that question will be saying they check out.
No, there's not some magical 2 years of experience in AI out there. So no, it's not you. It's the crazy environment.
He works for his wife, or a lot of side jobs for his wife. Something, and he was saying he tells her to find somebody that can tell you how we actually set the AI system for the job, for the software jobs that everyone's born. Those are not very, I would say those are very unique people. Most people that I've seen and come across use it, so you don't set it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not necessarily building the AI tools.
So my naive question is, are there a lot of jobs for studying that?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Ben, go ahead.
I got a question. Well, what advice would you have for new college graduates that just got their degree and they're looking to venture out on their own?
Our poor sweet kids, this is such a rough class because of all the things that we've been talking about. As I mentioned, that entry-level positions are the hardest hit. And there's a catch-22 of that. If everyone's not looking 3 or 5 years out in the future, we realize if we're not teaching entry level about the role and they're not getting exposure and experience in the role, we're not going to have mid-level people in 5 years, right? Who's going to do the other job? How are they going to learn to become the seniors who are driving the HI, who are being the humans behind and the strategists behind AI. So what do I tell them? Actually, Ben, I am doing a lot of coaching for college grads right now because of this dilemma, because of what's going on. And I'm going to go back to what you were talking about a second ago, that your resume, your collateral that we've talked about in this meeting needs to go beyond what you learned and more tell the story of what you've done. Share more of the whole story. So that's a lot of what I've been saying. Don't give me just a list of your classes and the new skills you have. Talk to me about the projects you did, how you collaborated with your peers at school, who you worked with, what, go beyond what you learned, but how you applied it, because that counts as experience now.
If I can say one thing, is I've seen a lot of like entry level resumes, and I've had to hire entry level positions, and on the surface level, most entry level applicants look the exact same because they have nothing to differentiate themselves. So unless you have something to differentiate yourself that I can look at and see like, okay, this person knows how to build things, then I'm most likely going to pass you up because I don't have enough time to interview that many people. So what I would recommend for anyone that is a new grad, if you want a job, you should build a project, because what I'm looking for is I want to see, can you actually build projects? And if you have a job already, then you have that experience, you can show I can build things. But if you don't have a job, then how am I supposed to know if you can build things? And especially with AI nowadays, if you give the AI to a new grad that doesn't know how to build things yet, and they're just telling the AI, yes, 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 keep going, keep going, keep going, then it's just going to do whatever you're telling it.
That's right. You have to be smart enough to control them.
You have to know how to build things, and that's the most important skill. So how do you get that skill about how do I build things?
Yeah, and what the outcome is of what you built, right? You want to see results of having built something as well. So it is harder. One of the things that you mentioned earlier was, you were sharing, was create something and put it out there yourself then. Now you've got the experience. Now you can say, I've got this out in front of the world. The fresh outs can do that too. The students can do that in their sophomore, junior, senior years. They should be finding these opportunities. And I'll go a step further and say, not just building and having that information or that experience now to put on your resume, but also using the soft skills. It's collaborating. It's not just building something and throwing it out there. It's what problem did we solve? Whether that was tasked by your professor or whether it's something that you and a couple of people came up with and wanted to solve. So problem solving, collaborating, it's those soft skills too. I led this project. Guess what? You just got 3 more points from me.
If I was entry level and stuck with that problem right now, what I would do is I'd find an open source project. Go start working on bugs. Because as an entry level, no one wants you to come in and claim that you can be the leader. They want someone who's going to get down in the dirt and do the grunt work that no one else wants to do. And you could probably find a project, it's an open source project in an area that you're interested in, that you could be a user for, and then just go for 20 bucks over the next month.
Yeah. Now, kind of on the same note of what I tell people, like, instead of like waiting for like a year to find a job, I just go start a company. So you're either going to have a company at the end of 1 year, or you're going to have experience at the end of 1 year. So either way you win. So
That's right.
Start a company, but you prioritize searching for a job.
That's right.
You're not on hold. You're simply looking.
So it's just building experiences and experience in new ways, because we're not getting those, and going back to Ben, because we're not getting those entry-level jobs, they have to create their own entry-level jobs or find a way to create that experience. Again, what they're going to be asked in those interviews is to share that experience, understand those soft skills. What are they bringing to the table? Are they smart enough to control the robots that they're going to have to use? So getting crafty and creative on creating that experience. And rewriting what you've done in school, right? Most people come out of school with more experience than they give themselves credit for, that they give class credit for. There are class projects that count as experience. So I want to see their resumes built out with that. And that's probably where I spend most of my time then.
Lisa, one more question. You're talking about recruiters, about the old model that you have companies and they give jobs, and then there's like an entire hierarchy and structure and people in between who decide who comes in. However, I notice more and more and more people, because of this AI boom, are actually just keep starting doing their own thing, like their own startup. And this is becoming really, really common. What advice do you have for those people?
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. I am more than happy to dive into that.
We will have to invite you again then.
Having just done it myself a few years ago, this is one of my favorite things to talk about, actually, Jake. And one thing that happened for me was right after I decided to start my company, I reached out to my network and some of the closest people to me and asked for help and advice, and I got it. Everyone gave me help and advice. Everyone introduced me to someone else. Everyone had, hey, here's a contract I use, or here's a collateral I've used that you can turn it into yourself. Everyone helped me. I feel very strongly about paying it forward. But so anyone who wants to ask me about starting your own company, I will sit and talk to you as long as you want about it. I think I got the help and I would be thrilled to help others, and I do it all the time. But to go back to your answer, or go back to the conversation, I know, right? It has become a real phenomenon over the last 3 to 4 years. The fractional world, contractors, consultants, people who work in fractional capacities, there has been a huge boom. There are massive networks around it. And if you're interested in that at all, I encourage you to jump into an organization called Fractionals United, because there's just a ton of information there. And you also, people will talk to you about their experiences, what's working, what's not working, how they got started. So that's the network group that I would send anyone to who's interested. But if you just want to hear my story or what I've done about it, how I got started, I am more than happy to share all the tools I have.
If you're in Austin, Antler has a residency program.
Also
to
Antler,
apply
right?
to.
Exactly.
So you can get accepted to their residency program. You don't even really need a business idea yet, I don't believe. I know some people who joined and they're like, I just made up an idea a week ago.
Love it.
So you don't have to even come with it.
Thank you, Edie. I got 2 more questions. It's my side who has to learn from that right now, honestly. I'd say the key really for the 2 things on that answer. What he's saying is, we know that the applicant tracking systems are messed up. What do we need to do? How do we work that? How do we gain that system? And the first thing I did was roll my eyes, because that's really on our side. That's really the HR and talent acquisition who needs to fix the processes. But the things that I'll say to you are, 1, cater your resume, cater your letter. So when you're applying to a job, make sure you're applying to that job and it is relevant to things on your resume are relevant to that job. Number 1. Number 2, use your network. Someone knows someone who knows someone at that company who can introduce or put your resume in the right place. So use that network, especially those jobs. A lot of us are spraying and praying, right? We're throwing our resumes everywhere. Again, you can still at least cater your resume to those. But on the ones you're particularly interested in, do the work, use your network. That is where you're going to get jobs.
Before, after.
Yes.
Yeah, really, like what you said, make it as easy as possible.
Yes, exactly.
Really
Exactly. Where you say, hey, Joe, I see you're connected with Sally over at such and such. I've just applied to this position. Can you send this to Sally?
I will tell you, we got my hand clap.
Do it 10 more times.
Yeah,
I don't even know who's slapping hands anymore. Forget about them. Do it anyway. It depends on what tools they're using. So there's some really bad applicant tracking systems and some pretty decent ones. And then the ones that are getting a little chaotic right now and writing job descriptions with rejection letters in them. So it varies. Honestly, I would say, yeah, even in the same company. And it's what tools any recruiter is using within the same company even. So that's kind of still the standard. It's cater it to, you don't have to have every single keyword. Let me make that abundantly clear. Even the robots are letting you through with like 70%. So don't feel like you have to have everything. There, again, and I know I'm being repetitive, but this is the story to tell. It's about telling your story. It's about making sure there's some humanity in that you're telling a little bit more depth than just, I did these things. So yes, on the keywords, but also go beyond the keywords. Embed that experience in your lesson.
So when you say keywords, these also like include soft skills.
Sometimes.
Okay.
So the keywords might be, the question was, do the keywords also should the keywords also include soft skills that you're putting on your resume? Sometimes, I think, as I said before, you want to, under all circumstances, kind of embed those soft skills in your resume beyond just the bullets on the top. Yeah, I'm a leader and I collaborate well, etc. Show that within the body of your resume. So that's really the key to it. But yeah, I'd say it's about looking at the job description and seeing what's most important. And by the way, the top 4 bullets are usually the most important. That's what they're looking for in real life. So making sure that you have that kind of embedded. If they're looking for a leadership role, you want to show you're a leader.
Thank you very much.
What a great conversation. Thanks, you guys, for the engagement and yeah, the Q&A. That was fun. As always, smart people. Smart people are so fun to hang out with.